Hello, hello. What is up? Hi. What's up? What's up, Necrotic Duality? Yeah, I stream sometimes. Surely we stick to 3 in, 3 out, don't go off topic, look blues. I'll try. Hello. Welcome to Patron deck reviews. This is the old system, new system is different. You found this while randomly scrolling? That's really funny. That's cool. Well, I'm glad you found it. Yeah, I stream occasionally. I try to do it like once a week ish. Um, Hello AVB podcast. AVB Aardvark's very boisterous podcast. What a weird podcast name. Uh, you have a deck I would hate to look at. I mean, um. Anyway, real quick, this is the old patron system. The new one will kind of happen like at the end of the month. You'll see it. I'm just catching up on old patron lists that I need to do. Yeah, I'm a little bit behind, so we're gonna keep this to a quick 3 in, 3 out thing. Starting with this Yasharn list. Now this user said, they put lands, they blink for more lands, they blink annoying ETBs, use the lands, Critterhoof or Abdel Resto are finishers, just grind it out. Got it. Got it. This list seems reasonable upon an initial look. I think it's funny that we're playing like Walking Atlas and the UFO with Yasharn, and then you just like blink Yasharn. This is actually like a burgeoning deck. I feel like burgeoning shows up in a bunch of random lists for no reason. But this is a real burgeoning deck. You know what's a card that I think would be cool here? Split Up? Is that the card? Ah, here we go. I really like this as a board wipe in slightly more aggressive decks like this, or decks that have a lot of tappy things, like this deck does. Because then it's like a one-sided board wipe. Really sweet ad. Are these holdover lists from previous months? Yeah, this is from this is July. But because I changed the way the thing works, in August I'll only have like 10 decks to go over, and then the new system will like properly kick off, and ideally I will be doing more games of Patron stuff. So next month I will also have completed my move, so ideally starting next month you'll see what the Patron looks like going forward, basically. Yeah, Split Up I think is a really sweet ad here. Otherwise, like, I kind of get most of the things in here. So my deck is very soon then. Is yours from... If it's one of these in the July one, then yes, it should be soon. I don't remember. Actually, I think it might be this one. Then, yeah, I should get to that one very soon. Should get to it this stream. You love to share, but no money for Patreon? I mean, you can always, like, send me deck lists over on socials or whatever. No guarantee I'll look at them. And it's not going to be, like, on stream or anything. But, like, I can take a peek at anything sometimes. Depending on time. This is a good list. This is actually like a really, really clever list. Yes, the Gev one, awesome. This is a really, really good list. Herd, Heirloom, add 1 mana for creatures. Till end of turn, target creature with power 4 greater gains trample, and whenever this creature is coming, it's really draw a card. That sure is a good Magic the Gathering card. Trying some different stuff with Tval, kind of ironic after the last video. I mean, it's not that I think no one should play Tval or whatever. You know, I like or dislike things on principle, but it's not like, you know, it's not like people should never play Tval or whatever. Man, I don't know what I would even start cutting from this list. Everything's really efficient. Like, I want to say Invasion of Ikoria, because this card kind of sucks. Because you really only have the front half, but the front half is good. You actually agree with the point and decide to embrace it? I mean, yeah, it's... There's nothing wrong. Like, you know, ultimately the cards are printed, you know, so, like, you should use them to have as much fun as you can. But, like, I can disagree with the reason they were printed. I feel like maybe you want more blink effects. Man, Eternal Wanderer is so good. I don't even know if you need to split up. I just thought it'd be a one-sided board wipe. I think Helm of the Host kind of sucks. This card is, like, super win more, ultra greedy. The front half, I know, the front half is the reason you play it. I kind of just hate that you don't care about the back half, usually. I'm, like, looking at the list, kind of debating how many tutors you actually really need, but it's such a good card. You're not mad at the cards. I'm mad at the WotC design. Yeah, exactly. It's how I feel about Universes Beyond, which will probably be this week's video. You know, there's nothing wrong with like liking it or whatever. Or like, I'm never gonna get mad at a player for thinking that the Spider-Man set is cool or whatever, because like they didn't make the set, obviously. You know, like I can be mad at WotC's design decisions, but not. I would never be mad at a player. This card was pretty funny. Oh, I should zoom in a little bit. That's what I was forgetting. I knew I was forgetting something. Usually I zoom in so you guys can see it. Does the deck have enough small creatures to crew the ship? Maybe. That's a good question. Because here's the thing: is actually a lot of the small creatures are like things that tap, because you want to be tapping to put lands. But if you cast your commander once, you instantly crew the ship and then play an extra land. It seems too good, right? Is there enough interaction in here? Maybe. I feel like we want more blink effects. More instant speed blink effects is what I should be saying. Kind of hate Far Traveler. Is Fairy still my favorite Pauper deck? Yeah, probably. How do you convert me to the Ephemeral? I mean, Ephemeral is sweet. It's not playing Spellstutter Sprite. Yeah, what up, Matt? How's it going? Problem with watching now is the stream of new cards. Think that they slow down, give us more time. I agree, yes. Shame that I can't stand Arena. Yeah. Yasharn finds lands to play. Yeah, exactly. It's just, yeah, the Yasharn with all these extra land drop effects is so crazy good. And then you flicker Yasharn, you ramp like so hard. This deck probably ramps like an obscene amount. I think you want like a eerie interlude type effect. Is that card $8? What is the other one? Like Lazelle's backflip or whatever the hell? Acrobat. There we go. I don't get the Wanderer in the deck is just there for Tragic Arrogance. I mean, it also blinks things. So it flickers Yasharn. It's a flicker engine. Lazelle's acrobatics, thank you. Why does this not have Philia? Oh, that's a good question, actually. Alright, now I gotta find one more cut. Enters or becomes monstrous, exile 2 artifacts and change a couple of different players. That's pretty good. I don't know what the Kozilek is for. Is it just to ramp into as a threat? The +1 flicker has never seen that mode used. Yeah. It also makes it come back at the next end step, so you can use it on an opponent's thing, so they don't have a blocker. It works on artifacts. So one funny thing you can do with the Eternal Wanderer is use it on your own ensnaring bridge to make the bridge go away. Attack, bridge comes back, and then nobody can attack again. It's pretty cool. This card's kind of awesome. For each opponent, choose a creature with the greatest power. I think you have enough tutors that you would always just get the other version of this, and you can cut this. All right, I think these are my changes. Add acrobatics. I think an instant speed way to dodge board wipes and blink your stuff is really, really good, and it's kind of awkward that you're missing that. Philia makes sense. It's actually really good in this list, and super strong with the Thalia's Lancers, because you Lancer for Thalia. Excuse me. You Lancer for Philia. Philia blinks the Lancers, and then you can search up like other things. And then Split Up is like a crazy one-sided board wipe in this list, oftentimes, which I think is going to be really powerful. Far Traveler, if your commander dies, it just doesn't do anything, and you're not a partner deck. Helm of the Host is really slow, really grindy, and this, I think you have enough tutors so you can just find the other one and use that instead. So you don't need too many of these effects. Why'd you add acrobatics before Ghostway? Because Ghostway is worse? I think Ghostway is worse. Yeah, it's one more mana, but the fact that it can double flicker your ETBs is, like, insane. And you're not using this effect until in, like, the very late game, and this deck is really, really, really heavy on ramp. So the 1 extra mana doesn't mean very much, because this deck's going to have, like, 50 mana. Alright, next is this Wilson list. Let's see what this user said about their Wilson deck. Here we go. You want to make a deck with not very used commanders, so you landed on Fast Voltron with Wilson and Cultist of the Absolute. Basically, turn 1 you play something to sack, turn 2 you play Wilson, turn 3 you play Cultist, hit someone for 5 in the face, just buff Wilson, knock people out. I know I can at least kill one person with the deck, but I don't know how to fully win games with it. I'm trying to do my best to keep it reasonably priced. Okay. Oh, this is your deck. Hello, Roasted Root Omega. So there's a couple of ways to make so the problem with Voltron, I think, is what you're realizing. You can easily just run one player down super fast, but then the other 2 players kind of get ahead and you fall behind, right? So there's like a couple of ways to deal with this. There is you make a plan B, like you have some backup alternative plan, which is kind of janky. You sometimes lose some of the Voltron. Two, you just gotta go way faster so you can like delete one player than another player. And then the other option is usually a Staxy kind of route. You play things that slow everyone down, so while you smash in one player, you are able to, do that with the other players not getting too far ahead. So those are kind of like the three ways to like think about it. Let's say absolute is +3/+3 flying, death touch, ward, pay 3 life at the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice a creature. Got it. So with this, your vigilance, reach, trample, flying, death touch. Okay, so trample, death touch is crazy strong. Okay, you know what? I think I want of those things that I suggested. I feel like the easiest way on a budget would be the slightly more Staxy route. Playing some things that will slow down our opponents a little bit. So one thing that I'm immediately noticing, right, is this deck probably doesn't draw a whole lot of cards. Right? Like I don't think we're drawing a mountain of cards here. We got a Phyrexian Arena, we got Smothering Abomination. There's a Skull Clamp, Right, we're other than the Skull Clamp, we're probably not gonna go like ballistic on cards. So one thing that's kind of interesting is a card like Bottomless Pit. This card's $8, really? Since I feel like I got this one for a nickel. Guess it hasn't been reprinted in a long time. Necrogen Miss. This card's also $9? Does this deck die to Oubliette? No. Maybe. No, there's a Caustic Caterpillar in here. The hell? Why are these cards so expensive? Let's go to EDA Shark real quick. Necrogen Miss. I guess Nath is like $2. Hang on. I'm putting cards in the sideboard for a second as I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing here. Oh, Braids is already in the deck. Sweet. Good. That's what we're looking for. Oh, Oppression. There we go. That one's. Is this? Okay, this one's like $1. Cool. You would be surprised how well I draw on the deck. You have like 15 cards, I'd say, are card advantage. Yeah, what up, Samwise? Okay, I see Crown. I see Skull Clamp. I mean, I'm not seeing it, but if you draw a billion cards with this deck, this also works with the strategy. So regardless, it doesn't it doesn't matter. Uh uh okay. Okay. So basically here's what I'm thinking, right? Is we add some stuff like uh Rankle or Oppression, Necrogen Mist, Nath the Gilith, Mind Slicer, Bottomless Pit, whatever. Take your pick. It literally doesn't really matter. And the reason for this is you can dump your hand, get off to a fast start. Bash everyone. The 2-mana 1/1 ETB discard is fodder for cultists and helps the clamp game plan and discard. Yeah, that works too. Yeah, something like Virus Beetle or whatever. Cards like this or whatever can be really useful. Because when you have Wilson plus Cultist of the Absolute, you're going to be like clocking people, and it's like impossible to block. Death Touch Trample is like Death Touch Trample flying is like impossible to block. You put any amount of stats on that, and it's they're going to be taking damage. But the problem is like you can lose the game when you are running down one player and everyone else just gets to sit back and get cards and then use those cards as removal onto you. So forcing those two players that you're not attacking to discard can be a way to mitigate that. So then they don't have the stuff in hand to make you to remove your stuff. That's what I'm trying to say. So just like some discard, I think could be really great in here. It could be like Rankle. Rankle's pretty sweet. Oppression is like pretty crazy. And if you draw like a billion cards in this deck, like you're saying, your card draw is like really, really good. That's awesome because then you just mitigated the downside of cards like Necrogen Mists or whatever. So what do you cut? And you don't have to add all of these. This is just I've selected 8 things to pick or whatever. What would you cut is a much more difficult question. Dawn of the Dead. Let me read the Oracle text. At the beginning of your upkeep, you lose 1 life. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may return target creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. That creature gains haste until end of turn, exile the big next end step. That's neat. When does this sacrifice stuff? Beginning of your upkeep? Okay. Rankle's Prank is another Rankle discard card. Rankle's... What does Rankle's Prank do? Choose 1 or more. Each player discards 2 cards. Each player loses 4 life. Each player sacrifices 2 creatures. Oh, that actually could be neat. You definitely want all the 1-mana things that are reasonable to sacrifice. Right, those are like mandatory. Bloodghast mandatory. Maybe Solemn. It isn't like neat to sacrifice it and draw a singular card. But that seems kind of mid. Deadly Dispute. Beast Whisperer, Brazier is a nightmare. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of like one-off card draw things. Enchanted creature has whenever this dies, put a counter. Whenever another creature dies, put a counter on this. Whenever enchanted creature dies, lay the top X card, X is that power. One in your hand, the rest on the bottom. Interesting. Marin seems super slow. Marin feels, well, you only need it to be like 1. Right? Because if you get it to 1, you just reanimate your greedy freebooter. It's pretty good. Siphon Mind. I do actually like Siphon Mind a lot, yeah. I feel like Solemn feels really slow. New sack fodder cards are good too. Rise of the Witch King. Mana Curve, she doesn't need a lot. Yeah, no, I agree with you, Rutabaga. I think Marin is a banger pick. I'm in agreement. Yeah, I guess I didn't show the mana curve, but like Marin will very quickly just be reanimating Shambling Gas and making treasures every single turn or whatever, which is actually like pretty good. Scepter is +2/+0 and Trample, which is slightly redundant since your commander already has Trample. When a creature deals combat damage for play, make that many 1/1s. Equip 3 to cast? Gives a keyword, but that keyword is already on the commander. This seems a little... Like, I get you can make a lot of, like, 1/1s or whatever, but... Your commander already has Vigilance, so it blocks pretty well regardless. You don't need that many blockers. I'm not sold on Scepter of Celebration. Feels a bit win more, maybe? Like, I wish it gave more stats for a 6 mana. Like, if it was +2/+2, maybe I'd be +2/+0, and it's just kind of eh. This is really expensive. Yeah, exactly. I think it's just 6 mana for... If it gave a different keyword that your commander didn't have, maybe, but like, you already have Trample. Just chiming in with a quick question. Does the sack front of the deck only have the goal to keep the commander alive, or is there a greater game plan of relying on sacking? I mean, you know, there's like Village Rites, there's Skull Clamp. Like, Skull Clamp isn't... Skull Clamp isn't to equip to Wilson. I mean, I guess you could, but like, you know, it's for the sacrificing stuff. So I don't know. You got like Village Rites. I had Death Recap. Yes, Death Reap Ritual, whatever this thing is. Does Basking Broodsail go? Maybe? Why not Shiri? Is that the 1-drop thing? Well, Shiri's 5 mana, which is more than 4. And Marin does have other upside of eventually it's able to reanimate your Morbid Opportunists and your Mycoloths and stuff. It has like more late game potential. I think Marin is just better. Each player sacrifices a creature or planeswalker. If you sacrifice a permanent this way, you return another permanent from your graveyard to your hand. Sure. Oh, you know what's a card that you probably want is well, I guess your commander gets flying. I don't know. I mean, daily bugle building, whenever this comes out, is probably reasonable in this deck, because you can give your commander Menace, which, with Menace, Flying, Trample, Death Touch, it is basically unblockable. Sword of the Squeak. +1/+1 for each creature you control, the base power and toughness 1. Wait, this card sucks. The card's really bad. Genova? Beginning of combat on your turn, put a number of +1/+1 counters equal to its power onto one other target creature. That creature becomes a mutant. Whenever a mutant you control dies, draw cards equal to its power. That's kind of neat. It puts a counter on Wilson, and then when Wilson dies, if this is still in play, you draw like a billion cards. That is actually a reasonable ad. I do like that. Okay. Anyway, Rutabaga. Here are my main thoughts on your list. What do I think of Ring of Dominion? Is this in the deck already? Am I stupid? No, it's not. Ring of Dominion? What? Yo, what up, Brian? Hey, I love Royal Assassin. Ring of Domination. Oh. What? I'm so confused. Oh, Dominion. Oh. The Dominion bracelet? This thing. Okay, cool. Yeah. No, this card sucks. That card's pretty bad. Okay. Alright. Sorry, back to your deck list for a second. I would recommend cutting these. I think they're a little slow, a little on the low impact side. And putting in some discardy type effects. I think that this is a way to slow down the other players that you're not attacking. And it'll make it so it's a little harder for them to keep removal and resources and stuff. So when you do pivot to attacking the second player, they're slowed down a little bit. And this will help you, I think, win games overall. That is my overall thoughts on your deck. Here's a bunch of suggestions and cards I would recommend cutting. Yeah, that is my recommendation for your list. I do like your deck a lot, by the way. I love Wilson. This is such a fun card. All right, we are moving on. It is Lizard time. Give Lizard Burn by Gecko Gamer. Yes, Giant Strength Belt is a bit awkward on the curve, but it's still really good. I think it's still worth playing. So I lost my train of thought. Gev! We're playing Gev. Look at this. Lizard. Average mana value is 2.97 immediately. Just the first thing that comes to mind is that we don't need this Arcane Signet. It's a 2-color deck, and we have like a bunch of duels here. It doesn't seem particularly useful. What did you say about your Gev deck? This is a creature deck just to take advantage of as many ping effects provided by lizards and turn them into actual burn effects. This deck can't really ramp and has difficulty rebuilding after a board wipe. Okay. I think I've seen you've submitted the same deck before. So it's going to be tricky because I think some of the cards I've already suggested are here, like Cauldron of Souls. How do we recover from a board wipe in Rakdos? Right, because I feel like the deck strategy is fine, right? This is a reasonable game plan. Okay. I think I have my answer. Balfour? I usually don't like recommending cards that are this expensive, but we can play something like Balfour. Yeah, Living Death is pretty good. I like Balfour a little bit more because Living Death reanimates everything for everybody. This reanimates all Rakdos creatures for everybody, which for you is everything you have, and for a lot of other players won't be that. Tybalt's Trickery so it doesn't resolve. Bingo, that is another great answer. Man, this costs $15. Sorry, Gecko Gamer. I usually don't like recommending expensive cards, but there's not that many options in Rakdos for this type of effect. I guess there's like Null Brooch, which is a 4-mana artifact you can pay 2 tap, discard your entire hand to negate. Although I don't know if this is great for the deck. Yeah, I think at least Tybalt's Trickery and Balthor would be pretty good. You happen to have Tybalt? Well, if you already have a Tybalt's Trickery, then this is a great ad. Yeah, whatever you we. And you spell my name right? That's how you know that's a real bobblehead right there. Actually spell my name right. There's one 3-mana spell that mass regenerates. In Rakdos? Mass regenerate for 3 mana? What are you... Really? I've never seen this before. Regenerate. Oh, regenerate. I am in black-red. Let's sort by EDH rank. Mass regenerate in Rakdos colors? I don't think there's one. But like if there's a card that I'm missing, like let me know. But I don't think there's a way to mass regenerate in these colors. Yeah, I don't know. Will of the Nim? Will of the Nim. A whale, sorry. Oh, here we go. Oh, it's each, not all. Ah. Regenerate each creature you control or Whale of Nim deals 1 damage each player and each creature. Whoa, I've never even seen this. Yo, this card's cracked. What? Like, what the hell? Well, alright, thank you, chat. We're solving the issue. What the hell? It has Entwine. Dark Dabbling. That's only if you have Spell Mastery. Regenerate. Oh, that's also target creature. Yeah, wait, this card's nuts. Cool. That card's really good. I didn't know that existed. Damn, alright, awesome. Let's find a few cuts. So I think the Arcane Signet is like a reasonable cut. Because, I mean, who cares? You have a 2-drop right here, you want to curve into a 3-drop anyway, you know. Yeah, so I just wouldn't play Arcane Signet. I don't think it's relevant. Reforge the Soul, I'm always, like, really, really hesitant with cards like this because we're not like this isn't a deck that takes advantage of the discard or force draw, and the problem is it just refills your opponent's hands, and if you're an aggro deck against the control player and they've already spent removal, you don't want to refill their hand. You know, it's a very dangerous card to play. Dark Dabblings also is a cantrip. Yeah, I do agree, but it needs like spell mastery. And the problem is this deck has like 9 I guess it's like 14 sorceries. I don't know. The spell mastery just feels a bit awkward in a more creature focused deck. And I don't think you need too many of those effects. I think just like one is fine, you know. This is a good card though. This is also like a really good card. I'll put it down here just so we have it, but it is sweet. And then Reforge is also a miracle card, so it's going to be awkward when you forget about it and try to prove that you drew it. That is actually true. Miracle is one of those effects that's kind of jank. Yawgmoth's Will. Okay, yes. So, Yawgmoth's Will is another card that would help you get your cards back and recover from a board wipe. I completely agree. And if you were to play Yogg's Will, I would probably also just throw Dark Ritual in the deck for like extra synergy. If your play group's fine with proxies, Yogg's Will is a great addition. If they're not, it's on the reserve list, so oops. But I do agree, Darren, it is a great way to get back from board wipe. I guess right, you could just play the red version, right? You could play Underworld Breach, right? Breach. Oh no. If you want to keep this bracket 2, you can't play Breach. Even though Yogsville is like arguably just as, also a very good card, but whatever. I love that you have Sigiled Skink in here, my little blue tongue skink, buddy. Why is Yogg game changer? Because Breach was printed in the last couple of years. So people actually like see it and know it. Yogg's Will, hasn't been printed since Urza's Saga. It's like an ancient card, and it's like $1 billion, so most players don't know about it. It's the same reason why, I mean, we talked about this on the podcast with Rachel. I said that Mind Twist should be a game changer, because I think this leads to really unfun play patterns when you just delete one player from the game, and then they just have to sit there and watch in top deck mode. But part of the reason it's not is that nobody knows what the hell this card is. Like, when's the last time it was printed? Like, I guess it's in Mystery Booster 2 now. But, like, the Game Changer list is funny. Breach also lets you loop things much more. So I do think Breach is more powerful than Yawgmoth's Will. Breach is a stronger card. I completely agree. But even though Yogg's Will is a little less powerful than Breach, it is still a comically powerful card. If I visit events like New York Comic Con, I'd love to go to New York Comic Con, but like it's like impossible to get tickets. And no one owns the Yogswell. Yeah, you know, I almost bought. I had like some store credit at Card Kingdom, and I was like, should I buy Yogswell? It's like $30. I was like, $30. That's a lot. I just never bought it, and I still don't own one. There's a Black Magus that does Yogsbill while exiling. Yeah, there is Magus of the Will. But Magus of the Will is like so slow because you have to wait like a whole turn cycle or give him haste. So I think he's like very fair. I think effects like the Magus cards are perfectly fine. If it's a creature that needs to untap to do a thing, the thing that it can do should be very powerful. Or can be powerful, you know? Breach is stronger because of combo. I mean, Yogsville also has combo potential. Like there's lots of shenanigans you can do with Yogsville. Yeah, but it's a CDH staple. Most decks will play Yogsville and Breach, you know. Which room card is this? Oh, it's the Spiked Corridor. This is the man, I hate these cards. When you unlock this, you make 3 dudes. Whenever a source you control would deal non-combat damage, does that much +2. Torture Pit is very good with this commander. So I gotta find one more cut. I actually might just say one less land. Our curve is so low. We could probably even, honestly, we could probably go down 2 lands and then add one more card draw spell. Maybe you could probably cut 2 basics and add one more thing that draws cards. Like a, I don't know, Reckless Impulse or something like that. And just go down 2 lands, I think. Yeah, 41's a little high for a deck that has a sub 3 average mana value. Magus of the Balance might go. Yeah, that card's pretty crazy. I think those are my. I think those. Sorry, before I close out of this, Gecko Gamer. I think those are my suggestions. If you're worried about board wipes, Tibalt's Trickery, great one. Whale the Nim, great suggestion from chat. I think that's pretty good. Dark Dabbling, maybe. But I think Balthor is also pretty good. And of course, Eog's Will if you really want. And then I think you can actually go up 1 card draw and down 2 lands, and then cut Arcane Signet and Reforge the Soul. Breach is so much better. I don't think Breach is that much better than Yogswell. Yogswell wins so many games. It's like really broken. Yogswell's so broken that like Mnemonic Betrayal sees play because it's just 3 Yogswells on your opponents. It's crazy. Alright, I'm moving on to the next list here. Who Up Dethroning Their Opponents by Baby Cabbage. Yogswell exiles itself. I mean, yes, it does exile itself, but like in theory, the game shouldn't like. I mean, in that deck, Yogswell is very fair because you just recast a couple of lizards or whatever. But at CDH, Yogswell ends the game. You're not casting it and then worried about the exiling. The game's just over. Opera Love Song. That's the Elsa 2 cards in your library. I mean, yeah, sure. Opera Love Song is probably better than Reckless Impulse. What the hell are we doing in this deck? I need to see what this patron said. They said, Sometimes aggro decks, sometimes aristocrats. Primary goal of this list is to have creatures die, and appears ETB and death triggers. Yep, classic Marchesa. Either through sack outlets or combat. This deck can win by turn 5 or 6 with the win cons listed in the deck description, or through combat/burn. Main problem with the deck is that Marchesa wants to land turn 5 at the latest, and she is a removal magnet. I understand she's kill at sight, and I run varying degrees of protection with mixed results. When I run heavy protection, I found the deck wants to play more reactive. Marchesa doesn't let save until turn 6 or 7. When I run light protection, right. It sounds like you have a responsible play group, which is good. If your deck can, let me just look at your deck description here. Murderous Redcap, Sack Outlet, right? Gary Loops, Sneak Attack, yeah. If your deck is if your deck is able to win on like turn 5 regularly, and you find that you're unable to do that, that usually just means your play group is like smart, which I think is a good thing. I think it's a really good sign, because it means your opponents are like, you know, actually playing removal, paying attention to the game. Like, that's pretty great. How do you solve this, quote unquote, is an interesting question. Your first Commander deck had a mind twist because I didn't understand how the format works. To be fair, you got Stasis locked in your first Commander game. Didn't play Commander for a few years after. You got Stasis locked in your first Commander game. That's pretty wild. Compared to the juice, compared to $1 million and $1 million in red, yeah. Man, Sneak Attack is wild in this deck. Man, Sneak Attack's a funny card. Okay. Here are my thoughts. So there is, you know, a couple of paths. So if you find yourself going, well, you know, Marchesa's getting blasted with removal a lot, what do I do? One answer that a lot of people try to say is just, you know, win faster or whatever, which I think is difficult to do, especially without pouring like a ton of money into free interaction. The way to solve your opponent's interacting is by eating their cards. That's a good idea. So the expensive and easy solution, right, is you just add cards like, you know, oh, Force of Will and deflecting SWAT. Right, and then, you know, it just kind of forces people to, like, go harder on, like, removing your stuff. And within, like, an established play group, it's not particularly useful to do that. So, what are other options? You can up the amount of interaction. I see you have, like, Offer and Flare. That's kind of it. Things like Swan Song, or I don't know, Miscast. Or like Miscast or whatever. Like Efficient Counterspell can be very useful in situations like this. You really only need one extra mana held up to let you untap with your commander and then kind of get going. Other options are if you just want to play the slower game, you know, bait out your opponent's. Does Marchesa reanimate herself if she has a 1/1 counter when she dies? Yeah. And it doesn't say another creature. You know, stuff like this lets you like get around. The other thing is you can essentially go bigger and try to win a little bit later, but then outvalue them, if that makes any sense. So we can increase the amount of card draw in the deck. So, cards like Painful Truths. So imagine this scenario. You're at the point where you would normally cast Marchesa, and even cast Marchesa, one turn later, you're holding up Swan Song. But instead of casting Marchesa and holding up Swan Song, you're going to cast Painful Truths and Polywog Prodigy. Well, now your opponents who are holding up removal, I mean, they don't want to use the removal on the Polywog Prodigy. It's not Marchesa. It's not the Kill on Sight card. But you just drew a bunch of cards. So now you're playing other value pieces, and you're just waiting and baiting out the removal and just playing a longer game. So by adding more card draw, you could do stuff like that. You could play like grindier cards, things like Attrition. This card's $20. Golly. Attrition lets you sacrifice a creature, destroy a non-black creature. You have lots of looping, sacrificing things you can do. It's pretty good with that. Between the two, do I think blue or green has the best protection spells? I mean, blue? Counter spells are the best because they're also offensive. You can use them to just delete your opponent's stuff. Yes, this is another MDFC enjoyer. We got 5 here. Excellent. Love that you got 5 MDFCs in here. It's kind of awesome. So like you could up the amount of like removal and card draw in your deck, and try and take the list in a more controlling route, and then just wait for your opponents to be forced to use their removal, and then once they use the removal, then you just deploy your commander. Instead of waiting 1 turn to have your commander plus counterspell, you wait 2 turns to have removal plus commander plus counterspell, and someone else has already used a piece of removal already. I hope that makes any amount of sense. Chat, does that make any sense, my explanation? Did that mean anything to anybody? Anyway, I'm going to recommend a few things that I might cut. This card's funny. The Drake is really funny. Look, I like Necroplasm, but I think this card's really slow. I think the card's cool. I really like the card. I think it's really slow, even in this deck. Living that ultra-wide life? Yeah, I need to... When I move, I'm going to get a bigger desk so I can have my big monitor, my small monitor, and then my regular size monitor, which currently doesn't fit on my desk. And I'll stream off the regular size monitor after that, and then this way I don't have... this way it doesn't look so awkward. Agatha's Soul Cauldron? I don't think Soul Cauldron's particularly necessary in here. We don't have, like, that many activated abilities to use. There's a few sack outlets, but they're all redundant anyway. What? No. No, Tech City. That's not... I don't think that's lore accurate. Looks cinematic. Thank you. Man, I love Life of the Party. This card's completely not good in this deck. I don't know what it does for you. Like, I get it's funny. Like, and if you want to keep it because you think it's funny, like, I get it. But if I don't think it's a legitimate win con in this list. Is she a wizard? She is a wizard. Yeah, the flares are really good in this list. The red one you can't take advantage of really because you don't have that many spells. But yeah, the blue and the black one are like they're like actual free spells in this list. Fulminator Mage is so whack in this deck. What is the point of Fulminator Mage? I mean, it's probably a meta call. I'm gonna assume it's like a meta call. Marchesa as a backup commander, kind of. Yeah, I think Marchesa is reasonable in this list. Storm Tamer is pretty good. Man, I don't know. I think this is a little slow. I think it's a cute card, but if it's not built around it, it's not particularly good. Okay, I think these are my cuts. I hope my explanation made any amount of sense. Where are we? We are here. We have, what's this? 4, 9. What's that? 14 more to go? Time is it? 10:46. Okay. Let's do a couple more. Elsa, Threefold Master. So this card's interesting. It's got trample, it's got prowess. When it deals damage, you make that many 1/1 monks. And these are just 1/1 monks. It's not. No, the card's not. It's not Monastery Mentor monks that have prowess. They're just regular monks. What did this user say about this deck? Want to try Jeskai Punchy a bit. Elsa seems fun. Goal is a super low to the ground aggro deck filled with cantrips to try and start taking out players on turns 3 to 5 before their removal board wipes really come online. Probably bracket 3. Although turn 3 to 5, Keel probably removes that from the definition. Okay. So they have do they? Oh, it does say prowess. Am I stupid? Holy shit! I'm illiterate. Did I just miss that? Oh my god! I need more caffeine, friends. Can Elsa get it? I don't know. She looks like a. I don't. Is it a human? No, it's a djinn, I guess. I don't. It's a very strange looking creature. They do have prowess. That's my bad. Okay, so sorry. Reading this description, that's all well and good. I think that's great. I think it's super cool and epic that you want to play an aggro deck. Why are we playing 8 mana rocks? We play magic reading as a privilege. Yeah. I'm like, I don't know. But the brain fry has been really, really bad lately. I've been so exhausted. In this week's podcast, you'll see I'm like completely unable to read just single sentences, one line on a card. It's really bad. I don't know. I think my brain is mush. Yeah, the 2 CMC rocks in a 3 CMC commander deck that is supposed to be aggro is like, what are we doing here with this? Oh, I think all of this is like, axe this, axe that, axe that, axe. Actually, I mean, we can keep Soul. No, we need colored pips. This doesn't do anything for us. Get the Soul Ring out of here. All right, all this Garbo, get out of here. Gotta have to cook, my man. Mana rocks for prowess. Why are we playing mana rocks for prowess when we just play cantrips, which draws cards into more spells for prowess? Okay, so the trick to one thing that I really should have mentioned in that mana rock video is part of the trick to running no mana rocks is actually having something to do on turns 1 and 2, basically, right? So turn 1, we have a lot of like cantripy things that we can play to like set up our hand. But we need stuff to do on turn 2, right? Because if you're building an aggro deck, you obviously don't want to go tap land, commander that does nothing. That would be like really slow, right? Oh yeah, Mishra's Bauble, Urza's Bauble. Yeah. Urza's Bauble is great. Mishra's Bauble. These things trigger prowess. They cantrip you. These are great. And then here, let's just do this. I'm gonna go to tags. Let's go to themes. It's a very useful part of. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Very useful part of EDH Rec. We can just go like this and think of, try to find what are some like 2-in-1 mana cards that are aggressive, that are useful in this type of deck. And you can instantly just go, hey, look at that. Stormcatch Mentor, that's pretty good to play on turn 2. Third Path Iconoclast, that seems good on turn 2. I'm going to add a few off the top of the dome here. Simian Spirit Guide, Ragavan, Jeweled. Yeah, Ragavan. Is card still expensive? It is still expensive. Simian Spirit. I like Simian Spirit Guide. Jeweled Amulets? Yeah. Jeweled Amulets, $15? Godly. Yeah, and Getaxian Probe. Let's see, what else? Boros Charm? Were they running Boros Charm in this list? That's a miss. Oh, Probe's already in here. Okay. This thing? Sure. Spellsite Dragon, or whatever the hell this thing is. That's a monk. Does that actually work with Harmonic Prodigy? Varen's on 3. I don't want too many other things on 3. I do want Slickshot Show Off, though. I'm looking for stuff on, like, 2, specifically. DRC, yeah. Light Scribe? Did I close my Scryfall tab? I guess I already looked up this card at some point. When you cast or copy an instant sorcery spell, could you do a +1/+1 until end of turn? Sure. Why not? Okay. I've now suggested like a bunch of cards here. Obviously you don't have to add all of these, but I do think this is more of the direction you want to be going. I think what you want is stuff to do on turns like 1 and 2 that like lead to the aggro plan. So going like Ledger Shredder on 2, turn 3 Elsa, and then turn 4 you go like cantrip, connive, looting even further, making that bigger, starting to attack. Can be like really powerful. See you later, Darren. Thank you for joining. Or the Otter Ball. This one's pretty sweet. It loots. So you play this on 2, you play your commander, you get a free loot. Basically, right? Just draw a discard, untap. Next turn, you can cast a couple of your things, and then, power it up, because it has prowess. And it's also got vigilance, so you attack, and then you loot. So I think playing stuff on 2 that will, like, actually, like, push you towards your game plan. Like, plotting a slick shot show off, then playing your commander on 3, and then untapping and just nuking somebody is like really strong. And I think that's better than just playing like a Fel Warstone. Sure, Bolt Wave also works. I don't think this deck. I mean, sure, you can. You can, there are things to upgrade for the package here of like whatever your spells you're playing, but I think the important part is to get down like 1 and 2 mana things that you can play before your commander. Kiln Fiend, yeah, that's a classic. Kiln Fiend also works. Yeah, it gets +3/+0 for every instant sorcerer. You can just do a ton of damage with this. So, yeah, those are my suggestions for that. All right, Kiora's Sea Monsters. So this user, let's see what they said. They just said Simic Ramp into Sea Monsters, trying to get free stuff off of Kiora. Cool. Very simple description. I like it. This is a 5 mana 4/5 with Vigilance Ward 3. Whenever you cast a Kraken, Leviathan, Octopus, or Serpent from your hand, look at the top 6 cards of your library where X is that spell's mana value. You may cast a spell with mana value less than X from among those without paying its mana cost, thrust on the bottom. Okay, so whenever you cast a thing from your hand, okay. So it's difficult to cheat the costs on a lot of these, right? Because you have to cast from hand to trigger it. So I guess we're just ramping is the game plan. Right, we have Eryximethys, we have Planar Genesis, Growth Spiral, Archdruid's Charm, sure. Farseek 3 visits, Nature's Lore, Bridgewater, okay. I assume Thassa's in here for flavor reasons, because it doesn't actually do anything really with the deck. Okay, alright, here's my thoughts. I think we should be axing Akroma's Memorial. I think we should be axing Unnatural Growth. Here's the thing: is you're already ramping into like huge like game-ending like things. We don't need to really make them like bigger. Like does Inkwell Leviathan need to double its power? Not really. Isn't that just Cascade? Yeah, it is kind of just Cascade. Yeah, what up, Guru? So this feels very like win more. Like if you already have a board of Leviathans, you're like, yeah, I can double the power and do a billion. If you already have a bunch of Leviathans to play, like game should be over. So I don't think this is like particularly necessary. Akroma's Memorial is, I think, also very win more for very similar reasons. Seems nice for evasion. I mean, I guess. But like, I don't know, you're in Simic. Aren't you just gonna like play Coma and like attack until they lose? I'm not quite sure I'm understanding what the evasion is for. Your stuff is just gonna be way bigger and stronger than their things, so you should just your things should inherently win. I like Simic Sky Swallower, but this card sucks. Okay, I do want to... Is this card a Leviathan Devour Land 3? It is a Leviathan. Yo, okay, cool. Wait. She triggers off of Leviathans, right? Okay, we should definitely add this thing. This card's crazy strong. Saga Leviathan is so good. Yeah, this thing, was it Kiora Best to See God? This thing's great. Or did you mean a different one? Plays a Kiora list, he repeatedly got stuck on 1/1 tokens. What do you mean stuck on 1/1 tokens? Oh, you mean like people just block? Well, that's like a removal issue, right? Like if they have a thing that like generates tokens every single turn, you should just remove the token generator. Which, speaking of which, Beast Within. Also Concordant Crossroads. What a crazy card to play in a deck like this. Oh, you mean Summon Leviathan? Oh. That card is actually pretty good. I think we can add it. I love the value Tooth and Nail. Yeah, I gotta say, Overrun and Overwhelming Stampede also seem completely like, do you need both of these? This is like crazy. We have Finale of Devastation to give our team trample and +10/+10, so we have like 3 Overrun effects. I think that's way too much. Honestly, like 2 might even be too much. So this is like way too much for a deck like this. I think you want stuff like Aminatu's Augury. And like, yeah, sure, Kinesis, why not? Well, Kinesis, you kind of need the top deck manipulation for it to be worth, right? I think you know what you want? Just like a ton more card draw. Just get like Recurring Insight. I think these are my changes. I feel like Simba Sasquatch is just bad. I think you don't need that many Overrun effects. I think these other buffing spells is like way too many for a deck that's just ramping into massive threats anyway. Like Scourge of Fleets should be your Overrun effect, right? Scourge of Fleets is going to bounce all the little things you just attack for lethal. I feel like if damage is your problem, I don't know what's going on in your meta. Concordant Crossroads is crazy in a deck like this. I don't like. Yeah, you give the Leviathan you cast haste and something else haste, but I feel like you could also inadvertently give someone else like combo potential, and it just doesn't seem necessary. Quest for Ruler's Temple is funny, but it's kind of mid. Closest I've seen to Trinket following 3 in 3 out. Yeah, you know, it happens. Sometimes decks are simple. This is probably gonna be the last one for today, and then I gotta get to work on a video. But Urza, Lord Protector. Let's see what this user said. They said this is a salvaging station deck, very cool and epic. I think you might have convinced me it's my favorite card now. Hell yeah. Okay, I love it. I'm aiming to compete at bracket 3 games. Game plan is simple. Try to get a bunch of artifacts on board. Beat them up with constructs. I've only goldfished it so far. You find it's lackluster. Not much board presence. Early to mid-game. Bit slow. Struggles with card draw. Most of all, closing the game. It's hard with just a few constructs with no evasion. Okay. So, I, on principle, agree with you that I like the beating down with constructs plan. In practice, that is actually really difficult to do because there actually aren't that many things that make the constructs. Like you already have Thousand Moon Smithy, great. You have, I don't know, some other cards. Cerebral Download would be. Hang on, I'll look at that in a second. I gotta finish taking just a peek at this list. You have Symbolic Synthesizer. That's the card I was looking for. Those are like the best ways to make them, but like that's kind of it. There's not that much else. Now, if you're struggling for card draw, you know, in theory, just like looping your baubles should be good for that. Like, I feel like this deck shouldn't struggle for card draw. I'm just looking at the list. Would you say cerebral download? Surveil X or X is the number of artifacts you control, then draw 3 cards? Actually, that is pretty sweet. Yeah. Yes, they do have an Arcane Signet and a 3-mana commander, but this is a deck that cares about the number of artifacts in play and number of artifacts in the deck with cards like Reality Chip and Padim and such. So, like, your deck really cares about artifacts, Emery as well. So I think it's perfectly fine to have these in the list. Is there a budget restriction on this deck? I don't see Urza Saga in the list. They didn't mention it. I guess I'll just... Sure. Urza Saga is a good Magic the Gathering card. And here's the real answer to your beatdown plan, is if you have Urza Saga and you have Inventor's Fair. Oh, you already have Inventor's Fair. I just did not recognize that art. Okay. And you add Crucible. Not that this is like a budget thing to do, but if you have Inventor's Fair, you can Inventor's Fair for Crucible, and then you can replay Inventor's Fair to get Expedition Map. To get Expedition Map, which can get you Saga, and then you just activate Saga basically every single turn, and you just keep Crucibling it back, which is kind of cool. Signets are repurposing Bay Father for Simulacrum. Yeah, Signets are like really good in this because you can repurposing Bay them for Simulacrum Synthesizer, which is really powerful. So, like, yeah, you definitely want 2-mana rocks in the deck like this. You don't have to add this package. This is just something to think about. What I was going to say about the mid-game presence and win cons is there's a couple of ways to mitigate that. It sounds like you could be using a Psy Master Thopterus in this list. So Psy is comes down early. He makes Thopters, which helps with that mid-game presence you were talking about. They're flying blockers, so they do a lot of chump blocking. And then you can sack 2 artifacts to draw a card. If somebody attacks you with 2 creatures that don't have trample, you put 2 Thopters in front of them, you sack them, then you get to draw a card and you block the damage. If the card you drew was an artifact, then you play the artifact, you get another Thopter back. It's so efficient. Cards like this can really help you in that mid-game. One card that I think could be really useful then, in addition to that, is Retrofitter Foundry. Retrofitter Foundry is kind of cool. You can use it early game to make more servos and crap, just like gunk up the board to block with, but it also works really well with Clock of Omens. And then when you have other things that make Thopters like Psy, it gets even better because then you can swap out some of those Thopters for 4/4s, and when you're making multiple 4/4s, it can be pretty powerful. So that's another way to kind of like get a little bit more board presence and also some more finishing power. Otherwise, to finish out the game, you can play, because you are playing Clock of Omens, the Millennium Calendar is another winning condition in this deck. It's not super fast, it'll probably take like 1 or 2 turn cycles, but it is a way to win. Do we like Thopter Spy Network? you know, I don't hate it. This user did say that they were struggling with card draw, and then if you have Thopter Spy Network, obviously it makes your Retrofitter Foundry even better, right? Hey, what up, Really Bad at MTG? I'm glad you like the content. I think it's cool that you're making your own as well. I really appreciate the kind words. I lost my train of thought. Thank you for that chat message. I really appreciate it. Who is this guy? What is this guy's name again? He's like Lightcore or something. Ah, here we go. This thing. All right, so I know that the like max speed or whatever is like kind of a meme, but this is a bit of a slower control deck. So you could maybe get there, and his power gets like really big, so it does kind of like close up games, and then you can like copy things. Friggin'. I'm blanking on the card name. It's fine. It's not necessary. Okay, those are some like suggestions of like things to do, and like add. Let us find a few cuts. Yeah, I think this is really slow. I know it grabs the station, but you have other tutors for it, and like a decent amount of card draw. Feels very, very slow. I mean, it's just like worse than Fabricate. Like wouldn't you? You already have Fabricate. I don't know. I mean, Arcane Denial should just be Counterspell in this deck. If you feel like you're not drawing enough cards, then you shouldn't be giving your opponent more cards. When this enters, exile target artifact or creature until it leaves the battlefield. Weird. Actually kind of mid in this deck, right? Because you can't loop it with the station. It gives them the thing back. Oswald. Counter spell unless pays 1 for each artifact control. That's funny. I mean, those are. See, now like it's dismounted by the commander. It's still card disadvantage. Metallic Rebuke would be better than Counterspell. Isn't it just Counterspell if you have... This is not the card I was thinking of? Oh, yeah, this card is pretty sweet, actually. I mean, it's probably better than Override or maybe Negate. I think you might have like a few too many of these. Well, I mean, these cost reducer spells are pretty. I think they're kind of not as good as you might think. Because the you're playing a lot of baubles and stuff. The curve is already really low. I don't know how useful the children yearn for mana leak. I think the cost reducer cards are kind of eh. You already have a lot of like 1 and 2 drops, and you're usually constrained on like colored pips. So like they're not bad, but maybe just going down on 1 could be useful. Maybe Thran Dynamo 2 doesn't create any colored pips. Might be kind of just okay in this list. And you don't have like X spells to take use of all that mana. I think those are my cuts. I think those are my cuts, and then you can add some number of these based on what I said. Yeah. Okay. How many do we get there? We have like, what was it? We have 11 left? Alright. I'll do those some other time. I think I'm gonna call it for today's stream. I gotta get to work because this week's video is very, very long. So I will hopefully start editing today. Yeah. Thank you for tuning in. If you want to get in on stuff similar to this, you can join the Patreon. Link is in the description below. Thanks to all my patrons for submitting decks. I really appreciate it. Surely Counterspell is bad with a mana reducing commander. No, Counterspell's always good. Have you seen the Rog Thrastless coming out? Yeah, the semi-blue or whatever. Yeah, there have been some Seed Age stuff, right? I've heard about it. I haven't checked it out yet. Yeah, anyway. I have like a lot of editing to do, so I will hopefully see you in this week's video. I'll maybe stream tomorrow as well. We'll see.